Those of you who regularly watch Chillin N Grillin, you're going to recognize my friend Jim. He's helped us out a few times with some barbecue tips, and we're going to be filming in his backyard. Keep in mind, this was pre-recorded, so you're going to see us standing pretty close together in Jim's kitchen, and you're going to see us sharing some barbecue space and some great food, but it was all done a while ago. Enjoy. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jeff. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, bud?
I'm doing good.
Hey,
You?
backyard. I'm doing great. Backyard looks awesome, man.
Thanks. Yeah.
Last time we were here, you had lots of barbecues going on.
Right.
But you obviously added some features. You got a pool, fire pit. Looks great. Tell me about it.
Thanks. Yeah, it came together pretty good this summer.
Yeah.
We did. We put in just a small in-ground pool here, fire pit over to the corner, and a nice little water feature just for some background noise and some greenery. So yeah,
Looks
it's
super.
come together.
What a great use of space, because you've got the ravine, gives you lots of privacy back here. You got a great fire pit area. I love that. So again, sort of private. And I kind of like how it's each sort of its own world. If you're swimming, you're here. You've got all this. You can lay in the sun. If you want to go sit by the fire, there's an area from that. And you're right, the water features some great background noise. Looks super.
Yeah, it ties everything in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I noticed we got some puddles here. It was raining all day today. We were a little bit worried about filming.
Yes.
But then I remembered you've got this amazing structure here.
Right.
So barbecuing in any weather is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
There's no issue. This is completely out of the rain. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing. The whole stretch. Got some sitting area over here. You got a fire. I see this is probably where everybody gets together and enjoys a cigar.
Yeah. So the screens allow us to kind of separate the two areas, but that's exactly right. We've got a sitting area here, kind of a dining area, and then the barbecue area over to the other end. But it's all off the back of the house.
So before we head over there, tell me a little bit about the menu tonight. What do you have on the menu for us?
Well, there's a number of different things. We've got some dessert items, maybe even a smoked drink, some beef. I was thinking of picanha and maybe some steaks, and then a few appetizers as well. Some mozzarella wrapped prosciutto, and maybe some Cedar-Plank shrimp of some sort.
And I know when we spoke earlier, you mentioned something about a rum and coke, but with some smoked ice.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
I'm anxious to see how you exactly smoke ice.
Okay,
But, so let's head over and we'll get started.
Perfect, that
All
sounds
right.
good. So, Jeff, the first thing we're going to do is a piece of meat called the picanha. This is a cap of a top sirloin. There's only 2 per cow, obviously, so they're pretty hard to find. You're not going to see them a lot in grocery stores, and if you do, they're pretty much chopped up.
You probably want to go right to your butcher. Maybe they have to pre-order it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, with the picanha, you're going to find it's a very lean cut. There's not a lot of fat at all. With it, your end cut is going to be against the grain. So if you decide to cut them into steaks, that's no problem. You cut them this way.
Right.
You cut them this way, and then your last cut you always want against the grain.
Oh, okay.
That'll become important down the road when we take it off, and I'll show you what I mean.
Okay.
For this roast, we're going to do it a little bit different. We're not going to cut it into individual steaks. We're actually going to cook it as a whole roast. So all I've done is gone and inserted and made a pocket, if you will, and we're going to stuff it. And what we're going to stuff it with is a little bit of mozzarella and some bacon. In most cases, what we'll want to do is take some butcher twine and sew this up to keep all the meat in. In this case, what I'm going to do is just use some skewers to seal everything. It's just a little bit easier, and it's saving us some time. Okay. So what we're going to want to do right now too is just kind of score, without cutting ourselves on this, score the fat just so it kind of cuts up and marbles up nice. We're not cutting through the fat cap, we're just cutting about halfway through it.
And so this is going to go on the barbecue.
Yep.
Indirect heat, direct heat. Are you going to sear it first? What's going to happen?
Yeah, so we're going to cook it at indirect heat until about 115 degrees internally. We'll take it off, rest it, jack up the temperature of the barbecue, give it a quick sear, both sides.
So we're going to reverse sear.
Yeah,
All right.
We're going to reverse sear all of the meat today, so absolutely, we're big fans of that here. Some people will just put salt and pepper and maybe some garlic on their picanha. I'm using a rub right now, which has a lot of salt and pepper on it, but some activated charcoal as well. That's why you've got that deep black color, if you will. Okay. And you'll see when it comes off, it's going to look like it's got a great sear on it. It will have a great sear on it, but the black charcoal just amplifies that.
This looks fantastic. Do we need to do anything else, or do we just go through this right now?
Yeah, we're just going to put a meat thermometer in it so we can monitor the temperature, and we can throw it right on the barbecue.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Well, Jim, we got the meat all set. We got the thermometer in there ready to go. We have it stuffed. We got the skewers. We got the barbecue at what, about 400 degrees, 350, 400?
Yeah, anywhere between 300 and 400. Usually I'll go slower on the bottom side. So this is actually going to be closer to 300 degrees.
And again, you're going for the reverse sear, and you'll talk about that a little bit later on, but we're not going to sear it now. We're just going to get it on a little temperature.
Yeah, so we're going to go to lower temperature, indirect heat, and we're going to cook it to about 115 degrees internal temperature.
All right,
we're
let's
just
get it
putting this
cooking.
on. Sound of goodness when it hits the grill there, Jeff.
So we got a couple of great appetizers going on. I see we have some lemon. I'm guessing we have some seafood happening now, Jim. So
Yeah, so this is a great little recipe. We actually did it the first year we were down at Eggfest in Georgia, and it's Cedar-Plank shrimp with Asiago cheese. Sounds really, really neat, but it's very easy to do. We simply just heat up a frying pan with some oil. We're gonna put in some garlic, red pepper, and normal pepper. Stir that up and just let that kind of go for just a few minutes here. We'll take our shrimp, and we're only going to cook this for about 3 minutes. So we just want to start to get this stuff done. Obviously, we'll finish everything on the plank, and with the lemons on the plank, we get that lemon, kind of that hit of lemon as well that goes so well with seafood. We've just put in a cup of breadcrumbs, and we're going to put in about half a cup of Asiago cheese. Like I said, we just want to kind of coat everything up here. Get that all melted together, and we'll transfer it right to the plank. Try not to spill too much off the plank. We'll cover it with the rest of the cheese that we're supposed to put on there and transfer that right to the barbecue. We're going to cook this at about 350 for 10 to 12 minutes. Not a lot of time on the shrimp because we really don't want to dry it out. Just have everything cooked through.
all right, Jim, I guess now you're going to put together a great appetizer. Tell me what we're going to do.
Yeah, super simple appetizer. We just take a slice of mozzarella, we wrap it in some prosciutto, and inside it we have a little bit of basil. We're just going to put those together, put it in a skillet, melt some butter, 3 minutes aside. It'll come off. It should be nice and crispy on the outside. Mozzarella stick hopefully won't ooze out on the outside, but great appetizer. Hit it with a bit of balsamic. Serve it with some marinara sauce. We're good to go. Yeah,
Put all these in the pan and we'll bring them out.
I think that's the easiest way.
Okay, Jim, we've had our shrimp on here cooking for a few minutes. It's sitting at about 300 degrees. You've got the cast iron pan with some hot melted butter.
Yes.
We're going to get these started.
Yep.
And then
Now
I think we should try the shrimp.
Sure, that sounds good. And again, 3 to 4 minutes aside, nothing long at all. So we'll just put these guys in here. So we have hot butter, but it's not obviously boiling, so we're not going to burn or trying to deep fry these by any means.
We're doing some crazy things today with this menu for sure. You were telling me about a smoked rum and coke.
So it's been about 15 minutes. The shrimp should be done at this point. So we're just going to take them off when we try that. And the mozzarella sticks, they're getting there.
All
Okay?
right, let's take a look. Wow, that looks incredible. These are starting to brown up. The cheese is all melted.
So the thing with the Cedar-Plank, you can serve it just like that as a table center right on the table. And it's a neat little conversation piece, right? You don't have to dirty up any more dishes or anything like that.
Great presentation. Jim, you got a fork?
I have one right there.
All right, let's dig in.
Okay.
I'm going to use yours.
Okay,
I
I'll
don't know
grab
where yours is,
another
but
fork
I'm going to
then.
dig in here. I love the way the cheese is all melted. Again, we had some breadcrumbs on there. Lots of lemon. I'm going to give this a try. Wow. That's fantastic. You can taste the garlic you had in there. A lot of garlic. Mm-hmm. Garlic really comes through.
And you really get the lemon, the flavor of the lemon that's
Yeah,
heated up.
A lot of smokiness, more than I thought. I didn't think we had it on long enough, but it really picks up a lot of the smoke flavor.
It does.
You get some lemon.
And not a lot of pepper, but it's got a bit of a kick to it,
Yeah, a little
too.
bit of salt and pepper in there. It's good.
yeah,
It's awesome.
perfect.
Good stuff. I'm
All
digging
right.
in for more. Jim, those shrimp were incredible. Lots of garlic, the cheese, the melting all together. Fantastic. Got an appetite going on now, so let's check out the cheese.
So these things have been on for about 8 minutes. We flipped them halfway through, and you're starting to see that obviously the cheese is melting, nice and gooey. So we're just going to transfer everything to another dish there. We'll give it a hit with the balsamic, and then serve it with this marinara sauce that has been on the cooker for a little
noticed
bit
that.
here.
You heated that up as well.
I did. We're just going to give it a little hit with balsamic. Nothing too crazy by any means. And then what I want you to do is try it, just dip it in the marinara sauce.
That's pretty hot. All right, let's give it a shot. Wow. I love the marinara. You're right, that picked up a lot of smokiness already.
Great. And what about the herbs that are in there that we used?
You can take everything just comes together beautifully.
Perfect.
Anything you can put prosciutto on, can't go wrong for sure. But again, everything you've done so far, lots of smoke. One of the biggest things I hear about with steak, what's the difference between dry aged and regular aged? I get that question all the time.
Yeah.
I know on Ranger Barbecue you've done that yourself. You age your own beef. So why don't you talk a little bit about the difference between dry aging, regular, and how we're going to cook them?
So what we've been doing a lot here with our barbecue group is taking a strip loin that hasn't been aged, and we're transferring it into a special dry age bag. And then this will go out into a fridge that we have outside. The idea with this dry age bag is it doesn't let any oxygen in, but it lets gases off. And a lot like cheese, you're gonna get some mold, if you will, or rot on the outside. That's okay, it's good rot. And what that does is it forces the flavor to the middle. And you can see that a lot when you start to look at steak. So this is one that hasn't been aged. Notice
This would be, for example, if we just cut this out and we just cut a steak, this is what we have.
Yep.
Right from the butcher.
Yeah, so you'll notice it's bigger in size because there hasn't been any rot or waste, but you'll notice it's kind of got that deep red flavor. Well, where this is kind of, I don't want to say a browner color, but it's darker, but you'll see that it's got a richer taste to the meat.
Sounds good to me. I'm getting hungry. What do you say we throw these on the grill?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just going to season it the same way we did with that picanha, with a little bit of olive oil and then some of this barbecue rub that we use. We're going to try to season both of these the same way to get a true comparison.
And I know you invited a couple of the guys from Ranger Barbecue over. We're going to cook both these up, and then they're going to taste test it too and see if they can notice the difference.
Yeah, we'll even give you a taste as well and see what you think.
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
perfect.
season them up and cook them. So, Jim, I noticed just before you put these on, from this angle, you can really see the difference in the steak. This one's the dry aged one's a lot thicker. So will you adjust for that when you put them on?
Yeah, we're going to cook it to an internal temperature of 115. So if this one gets done earlier, we'll just take it off, we'll rest it, we'll have this one finish off, and then we'll sear it at the same time.
Not a huge difference, so we're talking probably a difference of minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
All right, perfect. And we're using this XL just because it's already up to temperature, but we'll actually sear on a different barbecue.
All right, Jim, we got the steaks cooking. We're doing some crazy things today with this menu for sure. You were telling me about a smoked rum and coke?
Yes. So last night I made some smoked ice. So really I just took a pan, threw some ice in it on the smoker, a little bit of Jack Daniel's wood chips to get that smoking flavor. You let the ice melt down into water and let it sit on there for half hour, 40 minutes, just to absorb that smoky taste. And then take the water, put it back in an ice cube tray, or in this case, a muffin tray,
okay.
and let it freeze. Smoked ice.
And then we're just going to add that to some rum and coke?
Right, absolutely. It's great with that or with scotch. So.
And are we really going to get the smoky taste from that?
I'll let you tell me.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow, can you ever?
Yeah.
There's a lot of smoky taste in there.
Yep, absolutely.
That's incredible. Just water, ice, throw it on there. Again, how long with a lot of smoke?
45 minutes.
45 minutes or so?
Yeah, an hour. I kind of throw it on there and forgot about it, is really what you do.
I'm the host. I'm digging in first, but jump in, guys. Help me out. All right, Jim, you mentioned you had a pretty cool menu going on tonight. We enjoyed some great steaks. We've had a bunch of great food so far. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of anybody doing dessert on the barbecue other than you. So what do you got going on here now?
This is a really easy one. It's just an apple jalapeno pie.
Apple jalapeno pie.
I know. I know you're a jalapeno
jalapenos,
fan for sure.
So.
It's actually quite easy. So we just take a pie shell, we put in a little bit of jalapeno dressing, or jam rather.
All right.
And I'm just going to get you to mix in the brown sugar and sugar in cinnamon into the apples, and you can give that all a stir.
Here we go,
Great.
Jim. We got them all mixed up. Do you want me to put this right in here?
Yeah, let's just pour the apples
So you got
right
the
in
pie
there.
shell. You've got some jalapeno jelly.
Yep.
And we've got our apples that are all mixed up with the sugar, the cinnamon.
So let's take a little bit of the jalapenos now. We're just going to
so we are putting them on. By a little bit, you mean a lot?
No, I mean about a little bit. So we're going to cut you off at that point, Jeff.
Put a little more on there. Okay.
Important to note that the jalapenos are seeded, so we're not going to get a ton of heat from it.
Okay.
And then for the upper crust, I've gone and just done a crumble here, which is just pretty much butter, flour, and a bit of sugar.
Sorry,
No problem.
I accidentally put a few more jalapeno peppers in there.
It's okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some Asiago cheese, and throw that in there too. About a cup. They say about 3/4 of a cup, but we'll go a little bit bigger. Mix it all up, and we'll just cover everything with that. So that's going to bake down and become our top crust.
Wow. All right, Jim, so we got the apple pie ready. We're putting dessert on the barbecue.
Yep.
What temperature are we going with?
So we're going 350 degrees. Again, it's an indirect setup, so we're not going to have direct heat under the pie to burn that bottom crust. And we're just going to let it go till about, hopefully 45 minutes, or until you look at it and know that it's done.
Jim, I see you got the picanha off. You seared it off. It looks fantastic. We can see the cheese and the bacon. We're going to taste this, but I know, again, you mentioned earlier you film a lot of your Ranger Barbecue episodes here.
Yes.
And I see you brought a couple of the guys down from Ranger Barbecue to help us with the tasting.
Yeah,
so
usually when the smokers go, they show up.
Listen, let's slice it up and let's dig in.
Okay, perfect. When we start to look at the meat, you can kind of see there's absolutely no fat in the meat at all. It's a very lean meat.
You've got the perfect temperature. I mean, that's just ideal.
Yeah, so we cooked it, like I said, to that 115. And then the idea was, after that, we just take it off and we give it a good sear, right?
So this is because of your reverse sear, what you were talking about. We see the color in there is perfect. Instead of it starting from the seared portion and then going to black, gray, red in the middle, it's all one color.
Yeah.
And that's the reverse sear that does.
That's the idea, right? It's uniform throughout, right? The entire thing.
I'm the host. I'm digging in first, but jump in, guys. Help me out with this.
So what do you think of the cut?
The first thing you notice is how tender it is. Mm-hmm. I honestly, you had asked me earlier, I thought it was too lean to be this tender. Yep. But that's incredible. That's the first thing you notice.
Yes. Yeah.
That's and a lot of flavor, a lot of the beef flavor. That's an incredible cut. I've never had that before.
It's very hard to find. Yeah. There's two per cow. Yeah. That's the reason.
You get a little bit of the bacon. Not much, but just enough to kind of enhance the flavor.
Right.
But what I like about it is the actual beef flavor itself. So Jim, we pulled these off. We did the same thing. We reverse seared them. Yeah. We got them up to nice low and slow for a bit, and then seared them off in the end. We're going to compare. We have the 42-day dry aged, and let's just say the regular steak.
Yeah, and they came off at the same time, even though this one was thicker. We talked a little bit about that. Yeah. Because the dry age, there's not as much moisture content in the meat, so this one actually cooks a little bit faster than say a similar wet aged one.
See, we have our experts here, so I'm going to ask everybody. Let's be honest. I want to know if you taste a difference. Let's see what the big difference is here, guys. Let's jump in.
So why don't we start with the first one,
okay,
and then we'll taste the aged steak after.
Okay,
and see
so
if
somebody goes to the butcher shop or the grocery store, they buy a steak, bring it home, cook it. This is what we have.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Let's give that a
try. Okay, guys, dig right in. So what are you thinking? There's a lot of silence at this table as everybody's taking their first bite.
Well, I'm not sure how you can improve on that. It just tastes great.
Okay.
It's perfect.
Juicy, perfect temperature.
Perfect.
What do you think of the spice?
Everything it's seasoned just right. The temperature is perfect on the inside. The color, it's just great. I'm not sure what you can improve on. So I'm anxious to try. Let's give it a shot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot of silence as everybody's tasting these things here.
Big difference. You can taste the difference.
Okay, so what is the difference that you're tasting?
I want to say this is like a deeper flavor. You almost get, you referred to blue cheese earlier. You almost get that same sort of, it doesn't really taste like blue cheese, but it has a more depth to it.
A more intense flavor?
More intense flavor, yeah, very concentrated. Nuttiness. Yeah, nuttiness is a good way to describe it. Where you thought this couldn't get any better, this gets better.
It doesn't, it's not even close.
It's not even close, no. Yeah. It's perfect. Let's dig in. Jim, those steaks were amazing.
Thanks.
We're stuffed. We were so busy eating all the different steaks and enjoying those. I think we might have forgot about the apple pie. Maybe we check on that and see what's going on.
Yeah, it's actually ready to come off at this point. That looks like a pie that's done. So I think what we want to do at this point is just take it off. We're going to trim up some briskets for the game this weekend, so we can kind of let it cool a little bit.
Then we'll finish up with a piece of apple pie.
Looks perfect.
Sounds good
doesn't
to
it?
me. All right, let's do it. Yeah, because a lot of people struggle to cook a brisket at the best of times, but you've gone ahead and aged one now 49 days. Then we got that apple pie resting. I'm glad you brought up the brisket for the weekend because we get a lot of questions on cooking a brisket. I know we're not going to have time to cook one right now, but you brought somebody from the one of our taste testers in.
Yeah.
He knows how to do this whole brisket. You dry age this one.
Yes.
Walk us through what we're going to do and how you're going to cook it this weekend.
So what Marco's going to start to do is just trim off a lot of this dry age part, and as you cut it open, you're going to really start to see he's going to expose like the deep red meat there.
Wow.
So that's when we were talking about those steaks earlier and dry aging it. You get rid of a lot of this raw.
So Marco's he's trimming here. Is the idea to leave some of this fat on here? You don't want to trim off all the fat.
We don't want to trim off all the fat because that's the good part of the brisket, and is what's going to give the brisket a lot of its moisture.
Yeah, because a lot of people struggle to cook a brisket at the best of times, but you've gone ahead and aged one now 49 days, and you're going to cook that. Is that going to change how you're going to cook it? Maybe tell us how you would cook a traditional brisket, and if it's any different from this one.
Yeah, well, definitely low and slow on all briskets, and you're going to have a target temp. Everybody's different. 185 to 203. We'll definitely rub it with a spice. No brisket will cook the same. It is an hour to an hour and a half a pound. Some will cook quick. Briskets can take a long time in the plateau where it almost hits a stall at the same temperature, and at that point the meat's breaking down, and that you're getting a lot of your flavor. When cooking brisket, kind of one of the biggest pieces of advice I'd give to somebody is if you're going to aim to eat for 6, aim to have your brisket done a couple hours before that, because you can always take your brisket if it's done, cooler it, wrap it in foil towels, cooler it, and hold that temperature.
And you literally, I've seen you do that. You literally put it in a cooler. You wash it out, you wrap it, you put it in the cooler, and that's trapping in the moisture and just kind of letting it sort of get happy. Marco's doing an incredible job. I think we leave him to that.
Okay.
We pulled off that apple pie. We've had a great meal so far. Let's try that pie, see where we're at, and we'll let Marco do all the hard work.
Perfect.
All right.
That sounds good to me. Pie's been resting for a bit. Now, this is not my strong point, is pulling these off, pulling pie pieces off.
Looks pretty amazing.
Okay,
We got to get our
perfect.
tasters. Mike, come on around here and join us.
I can't wait.
Marco's busy getting the brisket ready, so let's not bother him. We'll save him a piece for later. But before we dig into this also, Jim, I just want to say thanks for inviting us in the backyard. Everything was great. What a meal. I mean, from having a smoked rum and coke, delicious apple pie. We've tried some 42 aged dry steak. I love the fact that everything you cooked, you smoked in some capacity, and you could really taste it. Great appetizers. Thanks for inviting us to your house. Thanks for sharing your barbecue techniques with us. Let's dig in and enjoy this.
Thanks.
Jalapeno apple pie, cooked on a barbecue. Hot. And
Spicy hot or temperature hot?
both. You can taste the jalapenos.
You wouldn't want to stick your finger in it.
I'm really enjoying that. This is now my new favorite dessert. I've had one bite. This is my new favorite dessert.
I was not expecting that.
I know.
Yeah,
You really get the jalapenos.
Yeah, but not a spicy
not
jalapeno.
spicy,
It's
no.
not overpowering
You're getting the
apples.
flavor out. Getting the flavor of it for sure.
A subtle, but you get the flavor, but it's
perfect.
subtle. Yeah,
It's
it's a
perfect.
good balance.
Yeah, it's
a
a
great
nice balance,
balance.
yeah. Cheers, my friend.
All
Cheers.
right,
All right.
take care.
That's
I'm
good.
glad you're enjoying it.